Alright, so today we're going to work on your block and your counters. So remember that the blocks, we distinguish actually between two types. The one that you strike the strike, and the other one that is technically not a block, it's just redirecting the strike, but I'm counting it as such. And counter, so in this case we're going to go striking the strike, in a counter, and redirecting plus a counter. Now, to simplify things, we're going to do the same footwork that we were practicing before. If you remember, this is all we were doing, striking the strike and coming back. So it's just after that second step, meaning step back, that's the first step, and the second step, that you're going to introduce the counter. It's going to be a simple counter. Every single time you're going to target the face, the head, and you're going to do a horizontal strike in all of the angles, except on number 12 and 13, because the way in which you're going to end is going to be different. Okay, we're going to see that in a second. I'm just going to do a quick rundown through all of it, and then I'm going to explain a little bit. Okay, so the first thing, remember, striking the strike. I'm going to strike the strike going back, and now when I come back, I'm going to do a horizontal strike to the head. And as you see, I'm extending the arm and I'm extending the stick. 1 and 2. Why? Because I'm in long range. Okay, so we're going to go to the other side, because now the strike is coming this way. I strike the strike, and then from this position I'm going to do a horizontal strike again. Okay, so again we have 1, and then come back with a strike to the head, change, that's very important, then back, striking the strike, and come back, horizontal strike. So that was very simple. The whole idea, as you probably have seen, is to, from whatever it is that you end, to throw a strike to the head, whether it is, maybe it's going to be easier once you see it from the front, from cerrada to abierta, or from abierta to cerrada. When am I going to do one and when am I going to do the other one? Very simple. If you end right here in cerrada, you're going to start your strike from cerrada to abierta, and if you end in abierta, you're going to start from abierta all the way to cerrada. So again, it depends on how you finish. Could you do this? Yes, but as you see, it's going to take that extra beat. Let's see now how we are going to do the entire thing. We're going to go, and I'm going to do a quick rundown through all the numbers. So the first one, striking number 1, and come back with a counter. Change, because number 2 is this angle, strike, come back with a counter. Change, number 3 is in this direction. 3, remember that I'm going to go back and I'm going to strike up. Remember that naturally the fist will go up, but don't lift it. Just go naturally to strike the strike and come back horizontal to the face. Switch to the other side, number 5, and come back, excuse me, and go back with a counter. Change to the other side, this is very important. Number 5, remember, here, and come back. Change, because number 6 is now happening this angle. 6, strike, and go back. Change, number 7 now is coming this direction, and counter. From this angle, how 7 is coming this direction. Number 8, switch is coming this direction, 8, and go back with a counter. Change, number 9 is happening this direction, strike, strike, back with a counter. Number 10 now is in this angle, strike and counter. Change, number 11, strike and counter. And now I'm going to change, and look, number 12, I move to the side and slightly towards the back, and look at what happened. Now naturally, if I strike this way, look at how I finish right here, almost vertically. I'm going to strike vertically. Okay, so one more time, strike, and I'm going to come vertically. Now, why? 2 reasons. One is because when you do this, probably it's going to end more in a vertical position, but plus, if you make contact with the strike coming vertically, you have to count with that opposition. So even if you try your hardest, probably from being in this position, you're going to end up more in a vertical position, and that's how you're going to end up striking. Could you do this and come back horizontally? Yes, but it's just more efficient just going right away and striking vertically. Okay, so one more time, strike, and vertical. And now from the other side, strike and vertically. So again, number 13, strike and vertically. Remember that when we discussed the counter, the blocks, we said that 12 and 13 are going to happen on a side, meaning I'm going to move towards the side, but at the same time a little bit backwards. So instead of going right to the side of the foot, I'm going to move side and backwards. Remember also that we could definitely do this if we gain enough space and come back in that position vertically, or we can come back from this position and come back with a vertical strike. We could technically just move backwards, as I said on the other video, and then come back. Granted that you gain enough distance, but if you have any doubts, just move towards the side and backwards and strike. Move towards the side and backwards, and then go back and strike towards the head vertically. So again, you have two options, just moving strike back and come back, or side into the back and come back, okay? Logically, it's gonna be safer if you move towards the side because you are going to get farther from the trajectory of the strike. So let me do a quick rundown to the front. Now facing you, the first strike is coming to your face. 1 and 2, change, strike and counter, change. Number 3, block and then counter, change. Number 4, block and counter, change. Number 5, block and counter, change. Number 6, strike and counter, change. Number 7, strike and counter. Now from there, 8, change first, step back. 8, remember, a little bit down and come back horizontal. Change. Number 9, back and horizontal. Change. Number 10, strike and come back. Change. 11, strike and come back. And now change. Number 12, remember, a little bit side and back, strike and vertical. Change. Number 13, side and back and strike vertically. Again, you also have the option of straight back, strike and go back. Again, I'm going to repeat, strike and go back, or from this angle, straight back and go back. I'm going to repeat, straight back and go back. This is a little bit riskier because remember that the trajectory now is coming straight to your head. So it's favorable to move towards the side rather than just moving straight back, but you can train both, okay? So that is in the case that you want to oppose the strike, meaning strike with strike, but we also talk about redirecting the strike, okay? So I'm gonna go super slow in the beginning. Redirecting, remember, same step, same footwork, and come back, okay? That will be it. Now, obviously, since we're gonna end in a different position, when I strike the strike, I go all the way through and I finish, in this case, cerrada, and from that position, I'm gonna strike. In this case, when I redirect, I finish in the opposite direction, and now I start the counter from the other angle. That's it. So basically, all the counters are going to come now from the opposite side, okay? So, now, 1, come back. Now, change, because now the strike is number 2. Strike and come back. Change. Why? Number 3 now is happening from this angle. I'm gonna come, remember, 1, 2, and 3. And in this case, actually I can start from this position. Remember that the redirection, it was a small circle, okay? Remember, just a recap. Strike and from that position, come back. Also, remember that you're not supposed to lift your fist. It would just happen naturally, because when you strike the strike, but remember that in this case it's not opposing but redirecting the strike. You're going to redirect naturally by striking the stick, and your hand is naturally going to be positioned up, so you don't need to lift this, okay? So again, 3 and strike. Now from this side, 4 and strike. Now number 5, in this case we're going to redirect. Remember that we're going to come this way, right there, and come back, Okay, I'm gonna repeat this and come back. One more time, this and go back. Number 6 is coming in this angle, redirect and come back. Number 7, redirect and come back. Now number 8, remember that now I have to go and do something very similar to number 3 and 4, but now it's coming from this direction. Now, could you do it like this? Yes, you could also do it from the other angle. Number 8, excuse me. You could do it again from that position, or you could do it this and go back. This is a little bit freer because you don't, in this case, there's not so much of a waste of time because the trajectory now is circular and it's going to be easier for you to go straight and from the other side to go. But before, it was more complicated to move your stick from that side to the other side on time to redirect the strike. That's one of the reasons why in this case it doesn't really matter where your stick is. You could actually do it. So 8, strike and come back. From this position, 9, strike and go back. Remember that you're redirecting. Now, number 9 all the way through. Now you change because number 10 is coming this way. Redirect and go back. From that position, I change this. Number 11 is coming this direction. 11, redirect and go back. And now, number 12. Remember that in this case, we're talking about this, right? So we're talking about this 1, 2, okay? Or this, got it? In this case, I don't want to involve my hand that much. So the stick is coming. All I'm gonna do is this. Not so much redirecting and going straight to the back, but rather on an angle. Remember that this strike is coming vertically to your head, so you move out of the way and go back. So again, out of the way and go back. What if the angle is coming from that position? Even if it's vertical, then it's easier to redirect in this direction and go back. So again, I'm gonna repeat, 12, 13, and go back. Maybe you will appreciate more the angles once you see it in front of you. I'm gonna repeat it, but pay attention to the 12 and 13 because when you look at it from the front, it's not going to look like this, but rather a little bit on an angle. You see, you want to move out of the way, not straight to the side, but rather 45 degrees to the back. So I'm gonna repeat the whole thing now from these, from the front facing the camera. And I'm gonna start from number 1, again, redirecting and horizontal. Change. Number 2, redirecting, horizontal. Number 3, remember, redirecting, horizontal. Number 4, redirecting, horizontal. I'm gonna do a quick stop. Instead of here, can I put my stick here and still do number 3 like this rather than coming from this position? Yes. You have to incorporate a little bit more of maneuver with your hand when you do it because you cannot just go straight like this. It's better rather to angle, but since now the trajectory is more of a circular motion rather than redirecting on an angle. Don't get me wrong, everything that you're doing when you redirect is in a circular motion, but there's a difference because now the circle is actually happening in this frame rather than going in this, or in this dimension rather than happening in this dimension, okay? So number 3, you're gonna redirect and come back. But again, as I said before, you could also do number 3 from that position and come back. Same with number 4, redirect with a circle, come back, but you could also do it from this side, redirect and go back, okay? Now, number 5, remember, in this case, we're talking about redirecting out of the way, okay? This is not opposing, this is redirecting, and then from this position, strike right away. So again, redirecting right away, okay? So once you do that, number 6 is happening from that side. We're gonna come from outside, redirecting and counter, change, because number 7 is coming from that direction, redirecting and counter. Now number 8, remember number 8 is in that direction, 8 and counter. Number 9, 9 in counter. Remember that as I said in 3 and 4th, yes, you could technically do this and go back for number 8. And number 9, you could do it like this and go back. Just pay attention that your hand is properly positioned and not facing with the dorsal. It's not like this, but rather like this. Imagine that you have a sword. That's the key of everything, right? And then you have to cut with the sword, meaning I'm going to cut with the sword, and I'm not going to go to the side and hit with the side of the blade. Okay. So once you know that, it doesn't matter where the hand is in this case, but keep in mind as the sword example, you want to cut and go back. Same way that if you are in this position, you want to cut and go back. Okay. Once you know that, 8, 9, now 10, I'm going to redirect and go back, change 11, redirect and go back, and now 12. Remember the first 12, 12 and 13, 12 before we were doing this, we're going to actually go back and redirect, but in this case, you see, it's in an angle facing in that direction. Okay, so again, redirect and go back. Okay, one more time, 12, redirect and go back. Change 13, redirect and go back again, redirect and go back. The most important part again is the angle in which you redirect towards, and also gaining distance. Well, it's actually gaining distance first because you don't want to be there, right? So if my face is here, I want to gain as much as I can, like this is okay, kind of. But you also have to calculate for the other person's extension of the arm, which is very difficult to calculate once it's traveling, because it's a vertical strike, right? It's easier to calculate an angle when it comes from a side to the other side than when it comes vertically, because you're observing just one point rather than sideways in which you're looking a line. Okay, so that's a concept that I will explain in the future, but trust me, for now, it's easier to calculate a horizontal strike than it is a vertical strike. So for that reason, you need extra step, so extra space. So the more you can move out of the way, the better. Okay. All right. So now we are going to do a little recap with the block encounters with the umbrella before we continue. Okay. So again, if you don't have a stick, you can do it with an umbrella. You can actually do it in short. Okay, but again, when it is short, it just doesn't make any sense that you pretend that this is going to reach any length. But if you open, you can imagine that, you know, you can use the other edge, the other end as a way to strike. Obviously, in this case, you see this is very flimsy, it's not very strong. But anyways, in practice, that's okay. So 1, striking the strike, coming back with a counter. Change. Number 2, striking the strike, counter. Number 3, change. Striking the strike, encounter, change. Number 4, striking the strike, encounter, change. Number 5, striking the strike, encounter. Number 6, striking the strike, encounter, change. Number 7, striking the strike, encounter. Number 8 is coming this way. You can do it from this position, or you can do it from here. You can do number 8, striking the strike, encounter. In this case, number 8 from that position, or you can do it from this position, number 8, it doesn't matter, encounter. Change, number 9, striking the strike, encounter. You can do it also from this side, 8, encounter. Okay, it's just a little bit more difficult, just a tiny bit, just requires a little bit more maneuver with your hand. Number 10, striking the strike, encounter. Change, number 11, striking the strike, encounter. And now change number 12, striking the strike, encounter. Number 12, 13, striking the strike, encounter. Can you do it here and backwards instead? Striking the strike, encounter. Yes, it's a little bit easier, as I said before. Moving out of the way, encounter. Even if you move sideways, it's backwards at the same time. It's not straight to the side, it's more of, you see, 1 and 2, I'm gaining some distance at the same time. So again, walk, encounter, and same on the other side, encounter. But you can do it right straight to the back. You just have to be more careful strike the strike, and counter, strike the strike, and counter. And keep in mind again that this is a vertical strike, so you have to angle a little bit. You have to go more horizontal when you strike the strike because this strike is happening vertically, okay? I would definitely favor the side to side because you're not on the way. Now, redirecting the strike plus counter, 1 and counter. Chains, 2, counter. Number 3, 1, 2, and 3. You can do it from that position and counter, or you can do it from this angle, redirect and strike. Same with number 4, redirect the strike and counter. You can also do it from this side, redirect and counter. Number 5, you're gonna come from this position, this out of the way, and counter. Remember, this out of the way and counter. Number 6, redirect and counter. Number 7, redirect and counter. Number 8, redirect and counter. Excuse me, number 8, redirect and counter. From this side, you can do it also, redirect and counter. Number 9, redirect and counter. You can also do it from this side, redirect and counter. Number 10, redirect and counter. Number 11, change, redirect and counter. Number 12, redirect. Remember, you can go strike towards the side and counter. Again, redirect and counter, okay? You can do it on the side if you want, but it's easier once you move out of the way, go back and counter. And from the other side, redirect and counter. So again, redirect and counter, redirect and counter, okay? So now, those are just the basics blocking counters in long range. So knowing that and seeing how it feels and how I emphasize change to the other side, we're going to go, I'm going to explain now how to approach different strikes, right? Like, for example, from 1 and a 2, someone does a 1 and a 2. Obviously, if I'm going to do number 1, striking the strike, and I'm in this position, right? And I'm going to be attacked on a number 2, it's very complicated for me to go all the way through and come back and redirect the number 2, because now the number 2 is coming from that angle, right? So again, striking the strike and trying to do this is going to be a lot. But let's say that is a 1 and a 4, right? Let's say that 1 and then the attack is number 4. Look at it, 1 and look again, 4. It's very simple, right? 1, 4. I just go 1 strike, 4 redirect. Now why? If I try to go 1 and strike, I could, but look at the position in which my hand is already ready to do the redirecting. In this case, I can use both. I don't have to be constrained by striking the strike, whether you do it from that side or the other side, meaning abierta o cerrada. You can definitely continue doing the redirection anyway, right? However, if a strike is 1 and 2, 1, and then it comes right back at me with the number 2, I cannot again do a redirection properly without being hit because I'm going to be too late, right? So for that reason, against a 1 and a 2, for example, same heights, different angles of attacks, you can continue strike against the strike and strike against the strike, right? But if it happens in different heights, and that's the key, so just food for thought, think about it. If it happens in different heights, it doesn't matter, there are different angles. You can mix, okay? So what I mean by that, number 1, strike the strike, that is opposing the strike. Number 4, I can redirect, and then I can obviously go back. Let's say that is the opposite. Let's say that from a number 4, it went back to a number 6. Okay, so number 4 to number 7. So number 4 came all the way through. I did this, but now number 7 is happening this way. Look at what I am going to do. Should I oppose the strike? So if number 4 is coming this way, all the way, number 4, sorry, for the strike to the hip level or the elbows happening all the way through and I redirect, and now the strike is coming from this angle on a thrust and I finish here. It doesn't really make any sense that I go all the way through to oppose the strike. I can redirect and I can redirect. So again, redirect and redirect. I can also strike the strike and strike the strike. So one more time, strike the strike and then strike the strike. That way, you're starting to think about how you can combine the different defenses against different attacks, and especially how you have to adapt depending on the different heights and the different angles of attack. So things are a little bit more complicated once you obviously are fighting, and then you have to move and the other person moves, because obviously you have to adapt to a different scenario, and you're not always going to be finishing perfectly here. You might actually finish, let's say, number one, you strike the strike, and for whatever reason it bounced a little bit and now it's in this position. And then guess what? Number two is easier for you to redirect because you're already in that position, and it will be to go back and strike the strike. So now every time you think about this lesson, think about these are the basics, but then also think about in which ways you can combine those against multiple attacks, meaning on number one and number three, or number one and number four, number one and number two. As I said, I gave you just a couple of examples in which you could actually combine strike the strike with redirection, but it would be good for you to start thinking about hand positioning rather than anything else. So I guess that's the recap of everything. Think about your hand positioning, okay? Think about how you aim out of the strike. Whether it is that you strike and you were successful and went all the way through, and now you're encountering a different strike from a different angle, and then you can strike the strike, or it bounced a little bit, and for whatever reason, now your hand is in this position, but the attack or the strike is coming already in that position. In this case, you can obviously redirect and you would favor that. So think about redirection and striking the strike at different heights and your hand position. Those are the 4 keys to be able to succeed, okay? So train as many times as you can, and I would say go and think about those things that I just mentioned, and I see you in the next video. Push.